Hello, welcome to Plane Time. I am obviously not Ben Coleman. I am Joel Hargis, and I'm filling in for Ben today as he's flying around the country somewhere. But I want to welcome everybody to Plane Time. We've got a unique show today because we are going to focus on something that's so important, certainly to me as an aircraft owner and pilot. We're going to focus on maintenance today. And I have a special guest here in the studio with me, Laura Spolar. And Laura is an aircraft mechanic.
Yes.
That works for United Airlines.
Yes.
And so welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, a little unusual for female, mechanics, a little bit. Let's go in the Wayback Machine a little bit. So, let's start with how long have you been working on airplanes, Laura?
I've been an aircraft mechanic for over 30 years.
Wow. And then I got to ask you the next most obvious question is what made you want to do that?
Well, in 1986, I was hired with Piedmont Airlines, and I was started on the ramp. So getting to work around the aircraft, I really liked it. Of course, like I told you before, who doesn't love the smell of jet fuel in the morning? Still do, love it.
Love the Top Gun reference. Love it.
Still do to this day. So the exposure to aircraft, and at that time when you worked on the ramp, we were the ones that thumped the aircraft and checked the engine oils, and it was enjoyable. I got to be outside. I was mechanically inclined. As a teenager, my father taught me to work on my own car. So in 1988, when Piedmont and US Air merged, they brought maintenance to our station. So I got to work with some of the technicians. I got to meet with them. And actually, it was their encouragement was the ones that made me decide to go to A&P school.
So they thought you had aptitude for it.
Yes.
And pointed you towards A&P school. And I think you said you started that at Embry-Riddle.
Yes, I did.
Well, that's kind of the gold standard.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go, go.
Yeah, right. And so how did that go for you? I mean, what was the good and bad and ugly of AP school for you?
The good was I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I had to work full-time and go to school part-time, so it kind of made it take a little bit longer. Plus, I was a little older, so I was married, had a child, so you have all those responsibilities as well while you're trying to work and go to school. So after about a year, I ended up having to leave Embry-Riddle, and I ended up working at a FBO just to get my time. I volunteered my time. I said, I will come and work for you for free if you will just keep track of my time, and they did. So I worked there.
What FBO were you at?
It was one in Sanford, and I don't even remember the name of it anymore.
Right.
It's been so long ago.
And so now, fast forward a little bit.
Yes.
Now you work for United Airlines.
I do.
And you're actually a maintenance supervisor there.
Correct, I am.
So that seems like a lot of responsibility.
Yes, it can be. It
right?
can be.
And so, and you work out of Orlando, right?
I do work out of Orlando International.
All right.
Yes.
And so what are the aircraft you typically service?
The aircraft we work on is primarily the 737. Our facility, the two hangars that are on Tradeport, that's where we're at. We're at one of the hangars. And so we do the 37. We currently do D2 checks, and we also do C checks. So those are a little more lengthy and a little more involved.
Okay. So working on big jet airliners. And one of the things that I want to point out to everybody, and I think most of us in aviation know this, but commercial air travel in the United States is the safest way to travel, period.
I would absolutely agree.
Well, statistically,
yes.
Statistically, it's true.
Yes.
So now, give us a peek behind the curtain. Why is that so? What is it that you guys do day in and day out that make those aircraft so reliable?
Well, our biggest focus is safety, obviously. Safety is number one. You can't compromise on safety at all. And aircraft maintenance is pretty regulated. So we have manuals that we go by. We have certain documents that allow us certain jobs on the aircraft, and that's what we have to stick with. It's not like you can deviate. So everything is pretty structured, and there's a lot of oversight. So after a technician finishes a job, we also have our own QC department. So quality control will come in and look at the job after the technician's complete, and then you'll have a sign off from an inspector as well.
Okay, so checklist after checklist,
Yes.
making it super
You
safe.
basically can't work on an aircraft without some sort of documentation, whether it's a maintenance manual, structural repair manual, you have to have a documentation.
So people that are afraid to fly is kind of,
Yeah, I wish they would come see us. We'd love to give them a tour.
and hopefully maybe there's a couple people watching that will
Yes,
kind of hear this stuff
yes.
and feel better about it, right? So not only do you do that, but you're actually involved in something else that I think's fascinating, and that is the Aerospace Maintenance Council.
Yes,
And so they actually have a competition,
they do.
and the competition involves a team that you're involved in, and also AP schools partner with you.
Yes.
So there's young people helping out.
Yes.
So elaborate on that a little bit.
So every year, in conjunction with the MROs of America, the Aerospace Maintenance Council has an aerospace maintenance competition. So this brings teams from all over the world. So we have international
All over the world.
teams as
Wow.
well.
Okay. I figured it was a U.S. thing, but
Yeah,
no.
no, we
International.
International. So the teams, they have different categories. So you can compete in commercial, military, MRO. I guess most importantly is the schools. So this year there was 27 schools
Wow.
that participated, and normally during the competition, like commercially, we are kind of paired up with a school. So we get to work with the students and mentor them and, build that relationship, because obviously some of those students are, we hope to have as future United employees.
Well, there you go. So what a great opportunity for
It
the
is.
kids in the schools. And we've got a picture up. Can you look at that? Speak to us about what we're looking at there.
So this year's event was pretty record-breaking. There was more women at this event than any in the past. So John Golia, who we all know and love, we kind of surprised him as everybody was taking their pictures with the Charles Taylor Award. And so we got all the women to go there and have a picture with John.
So something else that I want to point out, and if I can get old Bob on camera one, the thing that's unique about your team is, can you zoom in on this, Bob? There it is Chick Fix.
Yes.
This is your patch
Yes.
you guys use.
Yes.
And your team is all female.
Yes, it is.
And it's not like a local team. Your team is from ladies that work for United
Yes.
all over the country.
All over, yes. So because we don't normally have 5 women in one location, so our team is comprised of a couple team members from Denver. We have a member from Seattle, Chicago, Orlando. So we are from all over.
So an all-female maintenance team that competes in this competition, that's probably pretty rare. Is there a...
Not so much now.
Really?
In 2018, though, we did make history by being the first all-female commercial team. So that was pretty impressive. And this year we had quite a few female teams. American had an all-female team. There's a Aviation from Canada. They have an all-female team, and we saw a lot of military teams as well.
So in the competition, gosh, help me understand. So what kind of things are they having you fix, repair, find? What's that look like?
Well, the competition, you can download the event manual. So this year there was 27 different events, and it can range anything from electrical troubleshooting to checking a tire, doing an air data, doing a dent evaluation.
Wow.
A lot of the events are things that we don't normally do on a daily basis. So it's kind of nice to get that challenge.
It's kind of a refresher in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of exciting because you're going to be with people that they do that in their job,
Oh, okay.
depending like if they work for an MRO or like military.
Right.
You know, they'll work, obviously they work different aircraft type than we do, but it's just kind of a fun competition, and basically it's like the Olympics of aircraft maintenance.
The Olympics of aircraft maintenance.
Yes.
That's cool.
We have fun.
Well, yeah. I bet.
Of course we want to win, but we have fun.
Competitive. I'm
Yes.
sure the competition is fierce, right? And so, where do they hold these?
This year it was in Dallas,
Okay.
and next year is going to be in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Fairly close next year.
Yes.
And is that something the public can watch or see, or you got to be invited, or?
This year it was live stream, so as a public you could see it, and I think your invitation to the MRO would allow you to attend that event, and then of course we can have guests, but the average person can't just come up and see it.
So, all right. So that makes sense. I mean, we wouldn't want distractions and
Yeah.
things like that, what you're doing. So you refer to this manual, 27 different things. Do you literally got to address all of those, or do they just pick and
Yes.
choose?
No, so you have three events going on at the same time. So you have 5 team members. So everybody's going to compete in a stage. And each event you're allowed 15 minutes. Obviously you want to do it in less time because the less time wins.
Right,
So
right.
every team member will be competing in a different event at the same time. So there's a lot going on. So this year they had 72 teams.
Oh, it's kind of a round robin going on.
So yeah, you got a lot of activity going on. You got to make sure that you're at your location at the time that you're supposed to be at, and yeah, it's pretty intense.
Are you working hand in hand with the kids?
We work side by side,
Right.
and then a couple events our technicians finished early, so they went over and helped the students.
Oh, gosh, what a incredible learning experience for
It
them,
is.
right? And do they, I mean, obviously there's several AP schools around the country, and so I would think they kind of select the best of their best for this.
Yes, they do.
So that, to get selected from your school to compete in this
Yes.
would be something. So for all you young people out there, I would tell you, find out about this. And again, it's the Aerospace Maintenance Council and the AMC competition, right? Is that
Correct.
And so, is there a website or something that they can find out about this? Or?
Yes, there is. It's Aerospace Maintenance Council. Just type that in, it'll bring
.org
it up.
or gov or
I think it's .org.
okay.
Yeah, that'll bring it up.
So yeah, so if you're a student in one of these schools, I would very much recommend you to check this out, and because the schools are great, but there is nothing like the opportunity to work with like 30-year veterans like this.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, everybody on your team has a different kind of role, but you're now a coach
I'm the coach of the team,
for
correct. The Chicks Fix team?
Chick Fix team.
Yes.
I think that's so cool. I love that patch.
The name came up, that was my email.
Oh, really?
So when we
Chick Fix?
Yeah, so when we first met, we were trying to get team names, and a friend of mine who was being considered for the team, she said, how about Chicks Fix? And I looked at her and it's like, okay, because she knows my email. So yes, that's my email.
Well, appropriate, I
It
would
is.
think. I think that's so unique, and I do some stuff teaching youth aviation, and I'm always trying to promote it to young
Yes.
girls, to get involved in aviation, whether you're going to fix them or fly them or work for the ATC, whatever. But we need more females in aviation.
We do.
And we're going to talk about that in our second show.
Okay.
So I'm going to table it.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
But so it's got to be so rewarding to do that. And so let's just go back. What is it that you like the most about going to work and working on jets every day?
Well, since I'm a supervisor, I don't necessarily get to work on them every day, but I am involved with the group that does. So basically coordinating the aircraft maintenance on a shift-by-shift basis. I think the most rewarding thing is a sense of accomplishment, as well as this is a career, you're going to learn something new every day. There's not going to be a day that you won't
Really?
learn something new.
Always something a little bit different.
Absolutely, because there's so much to learn. Each aircraft is different, even if they're the same aircraft type. Some of them have their own unique qualities. You'll run into issues that you might not on the last aircraft that was the same type. So it's pretty challenging, and like I said, it's pretty rewarding because you get a sense of accomplishment. When you finished a job, that's a good sense of accomplishment.
So I get it, and I can tell you when I appreciate you guys the most is, and I'm sure we've all been there, right? When you're on the airplane and the captain comes on and says, "We've got a delay, we've got a little maintenance issue," and they're scrambling around. Sometimes they take you off the airplane, sometimes they have you sit there, and they get a maintenance crew out there to work on it. You've been involved in that, I'm sure?
Yes.
And so does that, like, to me, as the maintenance people, it's like pressure's on.
Pressure's on, yes.
Pressure's on big time, but yet you can't, I mean, you gotta be thorough. You gotta, you know what I mean? Gosh, so talk to me about how that call comes in and what happens behind the curtain and we don't see, you know, other than maybe looking out the window and there's people crawling all over the place, you know?
Sometimes we'll get the information before the aircraft arrives, so it gives us time to look up manual references, troubleshooting ideas. And obviously, we don't ever want to cancel a flight, but then again, safety's our number one priority.
Please cancel it if she's not ready to go, not 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just flying.
That's our job.
General, right?
You know.
And so, but sometimes the captain doesn't discover it until he's going through his checklist.
Yes.
You're still at the ramp, you haven't pushed back.
Yes.
Sometimes it's probably on the taxi to the runway and it's like.
Yeah, that happens. Yes.
And so.
Sometimes they got to come back.
Is that like a drop what you're doing and go fix this airplane right now?
Yes. Our line operation is priority, and the planes that come to the gate, that's our top priority. Obviously, we want to get it out on time.
Wow.
So yeah, pressure's on. Sometimes it can be pretty stressful when you've got like a tight connection, or I mean, people get upset. You know, you don't want to see anybody mad, but like I said, aircraft maintenance, that's our job, that's what we do, and we need to be safe. We're not going to release an aircraft that's not airworthy or not safe.
Yeah, thank gosh for that.
I know, I know.
It's just such an important role behind the scenes, and you know, you guys certainly don't get the credit you're deserved. I mean, I think the pilots and crews, well, they get the credit and they take the abuse, right? So maybe you're shielded from that a little bit. How about with what's going on in current times? I mean, we're here, you know, June 25th, 2022, and if you watch the news, it's cancellation after cancellation. How have you been impacted, or how has United been impacted by pilot shortages, staff shortages? Have you felt that in your own group, or what?
We're pretty sheltered in our group, and I mean that by I work in a hangar, so the aircraft that we get stay anywhere from 35 to 60 days. So in the environment that I work at, I don't get a lot of in and out of the same day because I have one aircraft that I work for a longer period of time. I know now we are hiring, and that is a good thing. There was a span many years ago, airlines weren't hiring mechanics.
Couldn't get a job, right?
Yeah, I mean, so now you can encourage young people to choose that career because the possibility is they will get a job within the industry, which is very nice. So expansion is good. Anytime you have growth, you're going to have some hiccups. Same way with the pilots and all the others. But I think it is a time where it is encouraging because it is growing.
It certainly is, and obviously the pandemic was just a kick
Yes.
to all of us.
Yes.
But So did you suffer layoffs through that, or your team or crew, or?
We did not.
Really?
And in our facility, because like I said, we do long-term, so we do heavy maintenance, and aircraft always have to be maintained, whether they're flying or not.
I was going to say, a lot of that's a calendar cycle,
Yes.
not a flight hour cycle.
And actually, we ran into something a little different with storage aircraft. So storage aircraft still require quite a bit of maintenance. So for us, maintenance, whether it was in service or storage, we still
So
had
you were
maintenance.
actually given the job of mothballing them.
Some, yes.
I mean, because some of them sit on the ramp for months and months and months, and I'm sure they needed.
They still require maintenance, a lot of
Okay.
maintenance.
So you either maintain them or you mothball them.
Yeah. I mean, you're still
that-
going to maintain them, but you have to maintain them to continue to remain in storage.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that was something different, because
I was
most
gonna
of us
say.
we've never experienced that.
Exactly. I mean, I
Airplanes
can see you
don't
going,
sit.
We got to do what?
I know.
We got to do what?
Airplanes fly, airplanes don't sit.
Right. And so it was so unusual, that
It was.
you see planes on the ramp like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, have you ever been to Tucson to see the military boneyard out there?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. They got all these planes mothballed and can put an F-16 online in a week. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that would have been new for you guys. Trying to think of it as we're getting closer on time here. Trying to think of other good questions for you. So, how about when the 737 MAX came out, right?
Yes.
And that was a different aircraft. Mm-hmm. And so you got to take classes on that? How's all that work?
You do. We do have training that you sign up for, and it's usually a 1-week class, 2-week class, depends on if you go into the avionics portion, but normally it's about a week, so it's a 40-hour training class.
Now you guys work on their avionics as well?
We do everything. We do sheet metal, we do avionics, we do interiors, we have a very small composite shop. We do everything
No kidding.
in-house.
So you work on radios?
We don't take apart the radios.
You just replace them.
Yes.
Replace
Yes.
components.
Yes,
And the whole FMS. So that's pretty technical.
it is.
She's so nonchalant, folks. I mean, oh yeah, technical, no big deal.
One of our team members on the Chicks team, Heather, she's an avionics technician in Chicago.
Wow.
She's an excellent avionics technician.
Well, that's a whole different
Yeah.
ball game.
Yeah.
And then, so on that MAX, it obviously had some issues that were avionics driven, were they not?
I'm not really familiar with that's not something we really went into.
You didn't have any of them?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay. So, well, so you didn't have to deal with that problem. Sure made a lot of news, and Boeing was just beside,
Yeah.
they were really in a bad spot. So obviously you say you work on the 737, so Boeing aircraft in general,
Yes.
is
Yes.
that the majority of what is in
Yes.
the United fleet and what you deal with?
Yeah, we do. We have the 737, 777, 57, 787. We have a few Airbus, but mostly the Boeing.
Okay. Gosh, it seems like it would be a whole lot to be knowledgeable on.
Like I said, you will learn something every day. And there's not one person that knows everything about every aircraft. That's just not possible.
I believe that. Just so many systems on that airplane. And of course, we had actually a very rare occurrence just this past week in Miami. I don't know if you saw that, but a nose to gear failure. It was on an MD-80.
Older aircraft, yeah.
Much. But, stuff happens, right?
Yes.
Everybody got out of there. I think there were 0 injuries on that.
Yeah.
But you just, gosh, I would think as one of the maintenance people, you'd feel awful when that happened, particularly if it left your shop, right?
Yeah.
So rare, though.
And I think it's more curiosity. When you see something like that, you for us, we want to know, like, ooh, wonder what happened.
Exactly.
We want to know why.
I wanted to know what
Yeah.
happened, right?
Yeah. And at least now with the internet, that information will be available and you'll have access to that.
Absolutely. The FAA and the NTSB
Yes.
will be all over that.
Yeah.
And we'll get a report to know what happened.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get into part two, any kind of closing remarks you want to say to maybe your teammates, somebody that may be watching that you know that you want to just give a shout out to or anything like that?
Probably the Chicks team. Being part of the Chicks team is probably one of the biggest highlights of my career. I think we showed them at the competition that women are in this industry and we can do the same job that men do. And we're very thankful for our male counterparts. But just a shout out to all the members of the Chicks team. There's an awesome group of ladies. So next time when you're at the gate and you see one of these women come up on your airplane, just introduce yourself.
Yeah, I know Laura.
They'll be like, yeah, we know Laura too.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
just a great group, just a really great group of ladies. United's got some very awesome technicians.
Well,
I'm proud
I
to
can
be
tell you
among
that
them.
I'm so happy that you've made it to our show this morning, and we're gonna do another segment here in a little
Okay.
bit, and we're gonna talk about promoting this to young ladies.
Yes.
And just youth in general.
Yes,
But it's a solid career.
it is.
It pays well. Working for United, like I say, money, benefits, the travel perks,
Yeah,
right?
that's,
It's not a bad gig,
no, it's not.
Not everybody can be or wants to be a pilot.
That's true.
And there's just so many other opportunities in aviation. And so I'm glad you were just a shining example
Thank
for people at young ladies. And, that if you set your mind to something,
Yes.
you can absolutely do it. And so, yep, we're down here to the last minute of the show. I tell you, Laura, it's just, I could sit and talk to you
We
for
could talk all day.
all morning. Yeah, we sure could. It's fascinating, and gosh, the stuff behind the scenes, like I say, it fascinates me. Particularly like how many times I've sat there and we got a maintenance issue, and like, get Laura out of here. Come on. But no, you feel better about it because we just don't really know what's going on, and you've certainly shined some light on that.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning into Plane Time. I am Joel Hargis, and we'll get that code up to you for your wings credits, and we'll see you in the next segment.